Thanks so much, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. Thanks for taking some time out of your busy schedules. My name is Michael. I'm a partner solution architect at Amazon Web Services. Been here for a little bit over a year now, and I'm joined by Fernando from Trend Micro. You mind introducing yourself, Fernando?
Sure, yeah. Hello, everybody. Thank you very much for joining us to the webinar. My name is Fernando Cardoso, Solutions Architect for the AWS Alliances. I just turned yesterday a decade in Trend Micro, right? It's been like a long 10 years. It's been a pretty fun journey with a lot of challenge, and very happy to be here with you guys today during this webinar. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thanks, Fernando, and congratulations. That's quite a lot of time at
Yeah.
at Trend. That's awesome.
Thank you.
All right. All right. So we're all here to talk today about securing Graviton2 workloads with Trend Micro Cloud One. The first thing we're going to start with is talking about our AWS Graviton2 ARM-based processors and some of the benefits that we've seen customers taking advantage of. And then we're going to move into talking about securing these Graviton-based workloads and how Trend Micro Cloud One Workload Security can help you do just that. So let's get into it. So before we get into Graviton2 specifically, let's talk a little bit about EC2 and kind of how customers are running in the cloud today. We at AWS have been aiming to support a broad set of different workloads that customers are aiming to run. And to support these workloads, we have many different types of instances with a broad set of different capabilities to do just that. And all of these workloads and instances and optimizations kind of add up to 400 different EC2 instances that customers can use to run their workloads on AWS and meet their business needs. And to support these instances, they're running on top of a number of different processors. We've been working with Intel with their Xeon Scalable processors to enable us to deliver our largest compute and highest memory instances to our customers. We've been working with AMD to deliver a powerful but cost-effective option for x86-based workloads. And then what we're here for to talk a little bit about today, our custom-built silicon developed by AWS, our Graviton family of processors. And we're going to jump a little farther into this one. So what is Graviton2? What is Graviton? What are these processors that we have? So Graviton processors are processors built by AWS. They're built on the ARM architecture. Our Graviton2 processor is running ARM Neoverse N1 cores. And we took these 64-bit ARM cores and built custom silicon around them and purpose-built them for cloud workloads. The Graviton2 processor is actually the second generation of ARM-based processor that we've developed by AWS. Our first generation of Graviton processor supported the A1 instance type, and we have since been able to develop a second generation. So why Graviton2? Why build our own processor? We at AWS have lots of knowledge of running large workloads and operating cloud infrastructure. We have a wide breadth of applications we are running and our customers are running as well to support our business needs as well as theirs. So with that knowledge, we were able to build in targeted performance and cost optimization for our own customers and their cloud native workloads. And building our own processor has allowed us to innovate on behalf of our own customers and really focus on the performance and cost benefits that customers are looking for. So since we've been able to move on to the Graviton2 processor, the second generation, how is this compared to our first generation of Graviton processors? And we've seen quite the performance increase. Moving from our first generation Graviton to Graviton2, we've been able to see 7 times performance increase. We've been able to support 4 times the compute cores than we originally were able to, with 5 times faster memory performance, as well as double the caching. So the processor has definitely evolved, and moving on to the second generation, we've been able to see a lot better performance. And as I previously mentioned, the first generation of Graviton had a single instance type, the A1, And by moving on with our Graviton2 processor, we've been able to offer many, many more. So our Graviton2 powered instances are designed to support your general purpose workloads, your compute intensive workloads, and many others. And this is all while having additional features such as NVMe-based storage, as well as bare metal options. And we're able to do all of this while offering these instances with 40% better price performance relative to their comparable x86 instances. So not only do we have more instances in our second generation of Graviton, we're able to offer them at a great low cost with really good performance. These instances are currently generally available in 23 regions worldwide and are handling customer workloads. If you're interested in getting some experience and giving them a try, we have a free trial running through the end of December for the T4G burstable instance type. So if you're interested in trying Graviton2, that would be a great place to start with the T4G micro instance. So now let's take a look at some benchmarks and some of the performance side of Graviton2 powered instances. And the first thing we're going to look at is specifically the CPU. Here we've run Spec CPU 2017 benchmark. This is an industry standard CPU intensive benchmark that measures both integer computations as well as floating point computations. And by running this benchmark, the spec scores were able to estimate that Graviton2 is about 44% faster per vCPU than comparable x86-based instances for integer performance, and then 24% faster with floating point performance. And the next benchmark that we're going to take a look at is a little bit more of a real world use case. This is a customer use case that we see a lot of, and it's using Nginx. So Nginx is a popular web server and load balancer, and here we're aiming to measure it as a load balancer. On the left, we have a load generator making requests to through Nginx to the web servers behind it. So they're being load balanced to the web servers behind it. The blue Nginx instance was run either with a M5, an x86-based instance, or an M6G, a Graviton2 powered instance. And we were able to see a 24% increase in requests per second handled with Nginx running on the Graviton-based instance over the x86-based instance. So not only were we able to load balance more requests than the x86 counterpart, we're also able to do this at a lower cost and better performance. So that is definitely some benefits that we see our customers taking advantage of. And next, we're going to look at another common customer use case while simultaneously looking at a more memory-intensive application. So Memcached is a in-memory key value store, which provides really fast data lookups. It's often used as a caching layer in between a database and the client to improve responsiveness. And here we're testing Memcached with 576 load generating connections on the left-hand side from 3 different instances. And when we were running this on Graviton2, we were able to see a 43% increase in throughput compared to its comparable x86-based instance. But when we're talking about caches, we're not only concerned about throughput. We're also worried about latency. These requests need to be resolved relatively quickly. And when we measured latency in this setup, we were able to see that the M6G sees lower latency across the board compared to the x86-based instance. So at a given throughput, we were able to provide not only higher throughputs, but at that given throughput, we were able to provide lower latency as well. So with all of these benchmarks and this performance, what does this mean for you as a customer who's looking to run Graviton2 in an ARM-based instance? First, these Graviton2 powered instances are the highest performing instances within their instance families. Customers are not compromising on performance by moving to Graviton2, and will even be able to take advantage of better performance by making the switch. Next, we're also able to do this at a lower cost. Graviton2 powered instances are 20% lower cost than their comparable x86-based instances. So both of these components add up to 40% better price performance than their comparable x86-based instances. So this ultimately means that if you're running Graviton2 based EC2 instances, they're going to have better price performance, and this is ultimately going to lead to cost savings for you, the customer, and ultimately a lower total cost of ownership. And not only does Graviton2 have great price performance benefits, it's also able to support many of the technologies you're already using today. In terms of operating systems, many of the popular operating systems that our customers are taking advantage of do have support for Graviton2 and ARM-based processors. And we also have great support for many of our community-supported operating systems as listed on this slide. Additionally, there's strong support in the container space. Our container runtimes like ECS and EKS, which is for Kubernetes, all natively support Graviton2 and ARM-based processors. And Kubernetes itself, as well as Docker, have ARM support as well. So if you're hosting these natively on AC2, you'll be able to run them there as well. Additionally, container registries like Amazon Elastic Container Registry, ECR, and Docker Hub both support multi-architecture images. So they're ready to be the place for you to get your images and can support both x86 and ARM architectures as well. Additionally, some of the newer container technologies such as BottleRocket and Firecracker also have support for Graviton. And just like running on x86, Graviton2 and ARM have support for many of our AWS tools and services. You can continue to do Systems Manager and EC2 Image Builder for managing your EC2 instances and building images. The AWS Code Suite still has you covered for running builds and deploys onto Graviton-based instances, as well as building on Graviton-based instances. And moral of the story here is ARM workloads and Graviton2-based workloads are really treated like first-class citizens on AWS and plug into many of the AWS services, just like our x86-based instances. So with all that said, we have our instances. Maybe we're running on Graviton2, maybe we're running on x86, hopefully we're running on Graviton2. Where are these workloads living? And now that you've made these transitions, how do we make sure that we're maintaining a good security posture? And here, customers we've seen have varying sets of different environments and many different configurations that they're running in their own environments. For example, here we have an example of an environment deployed via Control Tower. If you're not familiar with Control Tower is one of our services that allows you to easily deploy and manage new AWS environments and new accounts for you. And here you can see, here it's just an example, but you can see many different accounts, each with kind of a different role and different purposes. And our workloads are kind of going to live across these many different accounts. They can be holding Graviton2 workloads, they can be holding x86 workloads. And we're looking to and they could have different network configurations. And so when we're talking about securing these workloads, we're not talking about just one single place. It's across many different machines and many different workloads and many different networks or VPCs, and in maybe multiple different AWS accounts. So how are we kind of going to manage those across accounts, and what controls does AWS have to enable you to manage and operate securely? First, we have our detective controls. These are ones that customers can take advantage of to kind of get insight into what's going on in their solution. For example, we have threat detection via guard duty. You can monitor your configurations via AWS config. You can continue to monitor the applications themselves with CloudWatch, and then the AWS API activity that's happening within your different accounts with CloudTrail. And these are all kind of different detective controls to gain visibility into what's going on in your environments and give you visibility into like your workload state and the state of your current environment. And then we have, but we don't necessarily need to only know what's going on. We want to protect the infrastructure itself as well. So how are we maintaining secure hosts? How are we making sure our networks are secure? And this is where we have some infrastructure protection services. And this is where we aim to kind of reduce surface area and provide controls to protect the infrastructure itself that things are being deployed onto. We have many customers taking advantage of AWS WAF, which is the web application firewall, to protect against common web exploits. Additionally, customers are securely designing their VPCs to limit surface area and prevent access to non-public components, as well as taking advantage of Systems Manager, which you can use to patch operating systems, create secure system images, and secure the underlying hosts, whether that's on Graviton or x86 that you're running. And all of these controls kind of allow customers to secure this EC2 infrastructure that we're kind of worried about. But how can customers take advantage of all of these controls and increase their security posture across these many environments? We may be looking at gaining visibility into multiple different accounts or workloads or networks. How do we do that? And here I'm going to hand it off to Fernando to talk about Trend Micro Cloud One and kind of how that fits into this question.
Thank you so much, Michael. And this is a great way to start, right? Michael brought like so many very important security features from AWS that we do like different process to ingest those information or creating those integrations with the Cloud One platform that we try to secure platforms to protect the cloud workloads and cloud services from customers across the globe, right? Before we start talking about the Cloud One, I will love Yvonne to bring like one additional question for everybody here.
Yes. Yeah, we've got a question on Graviton2 for Michael. It's from an anonymous attendee saying, where can I get more information about the Graviton2 free trial?
Yes, here, let me pop back onto video, and I will distribute the blog post and the link for the Graviton2 free trial in the chat. But moral of the story is we have a free trial for the T4G. Off the top of my head, I don't know how many hours you will get free, but it's the T4G Micro that we have a free trial going for, and I'll include links and information.
I think it would be this one, right?
Yes, it is exactly that one, Fernando. Yeah.
on the bucket here.
There you go. So that's the one that we're looking at. I'll include some information, but it's going to go till the end of December. So you'll be able to give it a try and try your workload, try your applications out on the T4G Micro.
Awesome. I don't know, Yvonne, if you post the poll question or not yet.
Yes, 1 second.
Okay. Let's wait. If you guys can answer this question before we move forward with the Cloud One, I think would be great. It's just trying to understand if any of you today are protecting your instance with some kind of like a security tools for the regular instance with x86, right, or Graviton, if you are using already. Let's see how many people will answer yes or no, and we can move forward.
All right, let me go ahead and post the results. Looks like people have finished answering.
Awesome. Like most 50% of the people respond yes, right? Basically 47% said like yes, we have like some kind of security tools, and no 53%. And this is a very important question, right? Because it is one of the most common questions that customers sometimes came to us and started asking. So like, oh, do I need some protection for my instance or for specifically cloud services? And the answer it is yes, right? If you see the share responsibility from AWS, it is very important for you to pay attention for the operation systems, the applications that you are installing in your instance, and also all the data and like the access that you are permitting for people to take over those instances that you are creating. But also every single services in AWS, you have like some kind of security share responsibility that is very important for you to pay attention, like Lambda functions, S3 buckets, and many other services, right? When we talk about like a Cloud One platform, this is a platform designed to help organizations to protect their cloud workloads that they are building on AWS. Could be like data center migration, for example, just migrating the regular legacy operation systems to AWS. Could be creating those new infrastructures using Graviton2 or using microservices with Lambda functions or containers. Cloud One was designed to help builders, right, protecting those workloads. And if you remember when Michael mentioned about like the AWS tools, right, Control Tower, System Manager, well-architected tool, GuardDuty, and many others, we have a lot of integrations to help organizations utilize all those features from AWS with Cloud One, right? We are basically helping organizations to increase their security posture to the cloud, where they will basically having more additional features to protect their workloads. One of the most important here that we are going to talk today is the workload security. This is our security agent that you can deploy in AWS Graviton2, the regular EC2s, and also Amazon workspaces. This has like a comprehensive number of security features that you can protect your instance. And I'm going like in more details right after. The second piece here, it is the container security, where we can protect the ECR, the EKS that you are running on AWS, right? We can scan the container image, but also we can integrate with the admission control from Kubernetes to create like policy enforcement. The third one here, application security. This is very narrow for you to protect your web applications that you are building on Lambda functions plus in microservices using Fargate or using EKS to run your containers, okay? The main idea of like application security, it is protecting against the OWASP top 10, right? Looking for the most common web attacks for your web applications running this new world with like a cloud native technologies or microservices. File storage security, it is a very interesting technology for you to protect all the objects that you are uploading to S3 buckets. This is a cloud native technology that we built for customers using Lambda functions. And every single time when you upload a new object, or if you want like every single time when you are requesting a new object, we can scan against malwares. We can scan against like ransomwares and any malicious content that we can detect using our scan patterns, okay? Conformity is another technology that we use for looking for misconfigurations on the cloud services, right? We support over 80 AWS services, and we have like over 600 checks out of the box in our technology. The main idea here is looking for misconfigurations in services like S3, EC2s, Redshift, Lambda functions, and many others, helping organizations to apply the best practice from AWS Architecture Framework, or also like following the compliance from PCI DSS, HIPAA, NIST, and many others, okay? Open source security, it is our technology that we build with ISNIC in the partnership, trying to help organizations find open source vulnerabilities in their applications that they are building right now. And the last one here would be network security, helping organizations to protect all the traffic coming from the internet to their VPCs or from one VPC to another VPC. We can integrate with transit gateways or VPC peering to protect all this traffic and make it like an inspection on the fly, okay? Going forward and going in more details with the workload security, when we talk about like a Graviton, right, we have like three major areas like performance, ecosystem, and inherent security, right? This is all coming from AWS. But at the same time, when we talk about secure share responsibility, it is very important for you to add those three major points on top of that, right? Because you need to take care about the operation systems. You need to take care about the applications that you are deploying, the data that you are processing, and the permissions, right? Who is accessing? What is this traffic that you are receiving and you are processing in your application? This is like has any malicious content or malicious vulnerabilities that could affect your application or your operation system that you're running. Those are very important aspects for you to pay attention, okay? And the idea from Cloud One workload security, right? It is helping you to achieve those areas with security, but also performance, agility, support ecosystem, and also inherent security. The first one, when we talk about like performance, right, and agility, it is how you can easily deploy those security features on your instance using Graviton2, right? You can use control tower, system manager, cloud formation templates, bash scripts, Ansible, and many others, okay? This is helping organizations to scale up and scale down anytime. Ecosystem support, like our support with like Linux operation systems, right? Very focused in the customers' requests that they are most using with Graviton to do it today. And we are increasing this support ecosystem based in the customers' requests and also in the AWS increasing support for operation systems. And here is security. This is a very important aspect because most of the customers, they only think, oh, I just need to deploy an anti-malware or antivirus in my EC2s. And that's not like the actual case, right? It is very important for you to create like some protection against ransomware vulnerabilities. If you need like some kind of PCI DSS or HIPAA compliance, how you can monitor if somebody's changing or what is the kind of change that they are doing in your systems. You need to have like an integrity monitoring, log inspection, and application control to monitor all the systems and maybe lock down when you need, okay? And when we talk about like accelerating compliance with Graviton, right? This is one of the major focus also with workload security, where we can help a lot of customers with PCI DSS, HIPAA, HITRUST, ISO 27001, and many other compliances because they have a huge list of controls that they need to follow up to be compliant with, right? And if we move forward here, this will be like the security features inside the workload security that you can deploy for every single instance using Graviton, right? Basically, imagine for the network security, we have three major features here that we call intrusion prevention with a vulnerability inspection. And the idea here is like, imagine you deploy an operation system and after a week, somehow the security researchers, they found a vulnerability in that operation systems or in the platform that we're running. Our idea with the intrusion prevention, it is creating a virtual shield against those vulnerabilities to protect your EC2s, right? You don't need to like reboot the operation systems. It's just like applying the security protection on the network layer. We use IDS and IPS technologies to protect those vulnerabilities, and we can like just log only or we can prevent. It depends how you define those policies, right? Another important feature here will be the firewall. Like some customers, they need additional and more granular firewall applications for every single EC2, and we enable that for customers. System security, very helpful for audit process and compliance, right? Application control, integrity monitoring, and log inspection. Malware prevention and also ransomware prevention, right? Anti-malware, behavior monitoring or behavior analysis, and machine learning are very key aspects for a lot of organizations protecting their workloads against like crypto mining, ransomwares, and Trojans, and many others across the globe. Another important feature that we released a couple of years ago was the detection and response. A lot of conversations on the EDR and XDR, and we enable that inside workload security integrated with like the Trend Micro Vision One XDR to help organizations with their incident response teams, okay? This way they have like an easy flow of like telemetrics informations and all the detailed informations about like what is happening if some attacks was like taken over one instance or some specific cloud services, right? I don't know if there is any specific question, Yvonne, before
no, we don't have
forward.
questions yet. Let me know when you want me to do the next poll though.
Perfect. Yeah. Now I'm just like want to show you guys like how easy it is to protect a Graviton with workload security, right? In my case, what I'm doing here, I'm using a completely automated process with Control Tower, and I will show you right after I created this instance. Very simple process. I'm creating like a T4G.median, right? And I'm just going to the next process here using the default configuration. I'm just increasing a little bit of the disk here for 30 gigabytes. And I will just like want to launch. I will launch and I will choose one of the workshop keys, and I will launch this instance. What is happening here, it's basically we create like an automation process every single time when you are releasing a new EC2, or if you are terminating one EC2, right, with Graviton, we are detecting those instances and we are automatically protecting those instances, right? In our case, we are using Control Tower with a system manager. Let me show here a little bit of the diagram. But basically, every single time when you are building a new AWS account, we have this process embedded for any new EC2 that we are building with Graviton, and we are automatically protecting those EC2s with Workload Security, where you can also deploy the security profiles. For example, imagine if you are creating those EC2s and you have like a specific tag saying SAP server or web server, database, or different like applications, right? You can create like a security profile based in like a IDS and IPS rules, anti-malware configuration, application controls, integrity monitoring, log inspection, and many other features automatically for your server based on the tags. And this is pretty cool, right? Because you can actually say, oh, I have a specifically security features that I need to apply for the database and some others for the web server because they are front end, right? They are receiving a lot of traffic from the internet. And you can easily and automate all this process just with the deployment and also with the security being applied automatically for every single EC2. After we finish the process of like deploying the EC2, they will automatically be detected by Workload Security in Cloud One. And we have like a cloud native integration with AWS that we can bring all the EC2s that you have built in your AWS environment. I have like already before deploy one EC2 with Graviton, and this is like being protected with the security profile that I define. I define like a Linux server deployment security profile, okay? And I'm like protecting with like anti-malware, web reputation, active monitoring. This is like the integration with like our XDR. And when we talk about XDR, it is basically having a more granular visibility about like what is happening inside the server that can help your incident response team and security teams to have more details about like how to do a detection and response over specific attacks or any specifically suspicious activities that you see in your workloads. Those workloads could be running in your data center or also in AWS. Very important aspect, right? And you can there are so many visibilities here inside XDR, but one of the cool ones that so many customers love it is how the attacks are coming to my EC2s or how the attacks are coming to my servers, right? Which kind of like vulnerabilities they were trying to like affect my instance or trying to affect my workloads. And here you can easily see this is like Apache Struts vulnerability that they are trying to affect my web server using Apache, right? Very easy way to see the flow and who is targeting and which specifically source and destination IP they try it. If we move back here, you see also application security or application control that you can lock down your servers based in the maintenance mode that you are applying new versioning of your web applications or any applications that you are running on the server. Integrity monitoring and log inspections, they help a lot with the audit process, right? Imagine if you need to monitoring changes on the files or folders, registries, and services, you can easily detect those and notify your security teams or your operations teams about those changes. The last piece here will be the intrusion prevention, where we have the IDS and IPS rules and also the concept of like a virtual patching. We can scan your servers with the scan for recommendations, look for possible vulnerabilities that you may have in your environment, and automatically create the virtual patching application to protect those vulnerabilities, right? This is all integrated with AWS. We can detect those tags. We can detect the platforms that you are building on AWS, the IPs, regions, instance ID, and many other additional informations, okay? Let me just sync up to see if they recognize. Yes, they recognize the new instance that we just created. And in a couple seconds, I don't know if I finish here, one sec. Yeah, it's just finished. In a couple of seconds, you see the instance will receive the security agent and will be starting getting managed. And right after, they will receive a security profile that will define which security features on Cloud One they will basically start using, right? This can take a couple of seconds, but in a couple seconds, we'll see that and we'll come back, okay? During this time, I just wanna go back here. And I think we have another question, correct, Yvonne? Yeah, thank you so much.
Yes, we do. See it on the screen.
Let's see, this is a very interesting one. What's your major security challenge do you face when protecting instance in your organization? Compliance, ransomware prevention, vulnerability protection, EDR or XDR capability, and or others, right? I don't know. Each organization that we talk nowadays, they have like a different challenge depending how they are deploying their workloads, how they are protecting and having those communications and integrations in their workflows. As we are seeing the questions, the pool questions, right? We just like also activated the security agent. I promise I'm not doing here anything. It's all automated, right? In the back end. And they will, in a couple more seconds, they will start deploying the security profile and installing the security modules that we basically need. Just bring it up like the pool, very, very interesting. Most of the folks here, they have like a lot of challenge with the vulnerability protection. Okay, we can help a lot with workload security, just letting you guys know. And I would be very glad to help you to understand more about the vulnerabilities. But in this use case here, just touching in the major points that people bring it up, when we talk about workload security, in intrusion prevention, you have this feature that we call scan for recommendation that you can easily and automated those scan for recommendations, and they will look in our database of like vulnerabilities, right? Which ones are possible or which ones we found based in the CSVs and a couple additional informations from the applications that we're running. We have like almost 8,000 IDS and IPS checks that we look for those kind of issues, and are not just vulnerabilities on and exploits with the applications, but also suspicious network activities, application traffic, and web protection, like cross-site scripting, SQL injection, and a couple additional protections that a lot of customers need nowadays, okay? Really appreciate it. We did all this automation and they apply the security profile automatically for my instance. Now, we have a couple takeaways. And Michael, I don't know if you want to bring your 3 first, and after I can, your 2 first, sorry.
Yeah. I'll talk about a couple of takeaways that we have for the Graviton side of things. And I think the biggest one is Graviton2 powered instances are going to provide up to 40% better price to performance than comparable x86 instances. These instances perform extraordinarily well, and they're also able to do it at a lower price. So this ultimately is going to result in lower TCO for you, and hopefully maybe even deploying less EC2 instances overall. And then the next one is the Graviton2 powered instances is able to support a broad spectrum of customer workloads. When we looked at the benchmarks, we were looking at CPU intensive benchmarks, customer use cases, as well as memory intensive benchmarks. Graviton2 powered instances really can support a plethora and broad spectrum of applications, whether that's ranging from web servers to HPC workloads to media encoding. It's really there to support a broad spectrum through the many different EC2 instance types that we offer.
Yeah, very good point. And with AWS, we are basically supporting all of these operation systems, right? And the different processes that AWS are bringing to customers to help them with the performance, agility, and all the processing consuming that it is growing every single year, right? One of the important aspects is also compliance, right? It is how you can easily and meet those compliance faster as possible, deploying those security agents from us like Workload Security, right? With Control Tower, AWS System Managers. This is a very important aspect, right? This is not something that you are creating what we call a bottleneck, right? You are not creating like some new issues for the deployment in your infrastructure. You can automatically create like all this process seamless in your pipeline, where every single time when you build a new EC2, they can deploy the security. And if you terminate, they will remove the security, right? And all this is at the same time, it is billed the same way how it is you pay AWS, right? You pay per hour of security that you are using. You don't need to pay like a huge amount of like annual subscription for all the systems that you don't know if you are going to deploy or not. Another important aspect, it is the protection, right? Protection against like ransomware. This is one of the most like hot topics right now in the market. Also the vulnerabilities, as a lot of customers brought today from the last pool questions, and also malicious content, right? The malicious content could be coming from the traffic, the malicious payloads, or the files that you are processing. This is like some very important takeaways that we can help organizations keep in mind. We are here to help you to automate this process and make seamless as possible, and not creating frictions between the cloud architects and DevOps engineers that they are trying to move fast as possible. Okay. Any additional questions? Let me go to the Q&A here.
We do have some questions in the Q&A.
You want to bring that up, Yvonne,
Yep.
And we can answer?
Yeah, so we have a couple questions for you, Fernando.
Okay.
First one is, all of the protection features you've shown are fully supported on Graviton2 as well? Sorry, are
Correct.
all of the protection features you've shown fully supported on Graviton2?
Yeah, correct. That's why I showed the demo with the deployment, right? The security agent automatically being installed and using all the security features from Workload Security and automatically protecting and preventing those attacks.
We've got another one from Napoleon. It says, what are the differences between Deep Security Manager and Cloud One?
Yeah, very good question. Deep Security Manager was basically the old software deployment that we have for on-premise customers, right? From like 3 years, 3 years ago, basically, we started migrating and creating, it's more than 3 years, sorry. It's probably 5 or 6 years. We started creating what we call Deep Security as a Service, migrating this software deployment on-premise to SaaS module, deploy it on AWS, where customers can get the benefits of like SaaS technologies. And after that, we started creating more services, and we call Cloud One platform, right? In Cloud One platform, we have Workload Security. That is basically, in history, it is the old Deep Security that a lot of customers today use from us, okay? But this is just like a better way for you to deploy, and you don't need to maintain the Deep Security Manager service, the database, and the updates on those softwares. I hope that answered the question.
Awesome. And then we've got one more. This one's for Michael, asking if you could share some examples of customers deploying on Graviton2.
Yeah, I can definitely share some examples. And we have lots of customers running broad set of workloads, as I'd mentioned, on Graviton2, whether that's web servers, analytics, or things like high performance computing. And we have a lot of different customer use cases and case studies out there. I'm going to drum up the link and throw it into the chat as well. Yeah, we have lots of case studies and use cases that our customers have shown us and been able to highlight the benefits of them moving to Graviton2. In terms of specifics, a great example is Honeycomb. So Honeycomb is one of our partners as well as customers who has a great observability product out there. They were one of the really early adopters of Graviton2 and were able to reduce their ingest worker fleet by around 30% because of the performance benefits that Graviton2 was able to give them. And this was all done at a lower cost and cheaper instances. I would highly recommend you all take a look at that link. We have a broad spectrum of different partners ranging from analytics, customers doing analytics to customers hosting their web servers and the benefits that they've been able to gain from making that switch to Graviton.
Awesome.
Cool. I think that wraps it up.
Yeah, just let me just, yeah, I think I answered the question in the Q&A too, but I just want to bring like first some additional customers here maybe. You can move from Deep Security Manager, the on-premise module, to the cloud one. Yes, you can. We just need to help you with like the transaction of like the license. That will be a little bit different. And also we can help you with like a couple tools that can migrate all the agents that you have deployed in the Deep Security Manager to the cloud one. But yes, you can migrate those workloads.